welcome to the TectonicTakes podcast. And we would like to welcome our very special guest this evening, the first pick in the 2006 MLS SuperDraft out of UCLA, former New York Red Bulls, Toronto FC, Colorado Rapids, San Jose Earthquakes, and U.S. men's national team player and 2010 MLS Cup champion, Marvell Wynne. How are you doing, Marvell?
What's up, Marvell?
I'm doing very well, guys. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. You know, we're excited to have you on, but thanks for your time. We truly do appreciate it.
Of course. I'm happy to do it, guys.
Yeah. Then, so I'm sure you kept up with the MLS season. There's a possibility of all four of your former clubs to make the playoffs this year. So that's a little interesting tidbit.
Yeah, two of them already clinched, the Toronto FC and New York Red Bulls. So two more to go.
I mean, we'll see whatever luck I have. I guess once I leave teams, they do all right. Well, except for the one exception when I left Toronto, I went to Colorado. That one time, 2010, that kind of worked out for me. But, you know, I mean, that's perfectly fine. I mean, I want to see my Quakes in there, obviously, right?
Right.
And, you know, I still have love for the Rapids. I really do. Even after, 5 years of being there, I love this city. I love it. It's a good place. So, I mean, get all those old teams in there, and you know what? You missed one. I was actually drafted by New York, New Jersey Metro Stars, but they became the Red Bulls like 2 weeks later. So that's how old I am.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty crazy. I mean, I totally forgot even about the New Jersey Metro Stars, right? So.
Yeah, you even forgot my name there.
Yeah. All right.
You're not the only technically you're former Metro star for those 2 weeks. You're not the only former Metro star in the soccer media business now that Tim Howard's covering Premier League. So, yeah,
right.
It's pretty interesting.
A little bit more well-known, but I'm glad he's still a defender. We see a lot what goes on the pitch, and, we're not all kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But Tim Howard's not a FIFA legend like Marv here, so – I mean, you might be more popular just to be honest.
Oh, you mean when it comes to the FIFA?
Yeah, or it comes to just in soccer knowledge of the world, right? Maybe more people know you because FIFA is very, renowned in the world, while, the Premier League, is pretty well known too, but just with the younger kids, they might know you more, right?
Oh, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm still getting messages in my DMs just like, man, you're just a picture of my card. And they're just being nice. They're saying, your card was broken. I use your card all the time. This is so great. And, usually I just do like a sprinter emoji and then like a respect fist or something like that.
That's awesome.
Let them know that give props. Like, if they can reach me, they can contact me. Let them know that I see it. It's like, guys, appreciate you.
Yeah, this seems like a good time to mention the one fan question we have. So he asks, Farim Kareem asks, have you ever played as yourself in FIFA since you are so fast? And I'll change that to ask, when was the first time perhaps that you played yourself in FIFA, since I'm sure you had to try it out, right?
I had to try it out. I think so. I have played myself in FIFA. I'm not a big sports guy. I'm usually into RPGs. I'm usually, alone, solo dolo. So given my Final Fantasies or Dragon Age, and then I'll be playing, The Witcher 3.
Good choices there.
Yeah, I'll be on my own. I'll be happy as can be. But playing myself in FIFA, it was pretty cool because I think I played the 2005 version. That might have been my first year. I think number one overall. They kind of went all out. I was like, oh, that does look like me. 2 years later, just the generic, just nothing going on. And I like using my speed. I think 2005 or 6, like it was very easy to cross the ball and just get on the end of headers. So I just had me run down the lines and then cross. But at the same time, all my friends would play me and they put me up top because they thought my speed would just translate to offensive prowess.
Yeah.
No. One of my boys said, your awareness is so low. I tried using you, kept running into a goalpost. I'm like, leave me alone.
It's not my fault that you put me at striker.
Yeah, man. I am absolutely lost. I feel like I'm on an island out there. I want to know what to do. Come on.
Yeah, this isn't like pick up at like a barbecue or something. Like in that case, you'll see I'm an effective striker, huh?
Yeah, we're at a professional level. Gotta treat me as such. Keep me in the back where I know what I'm doing.
All right. We're gonna Mara, I'm going to ask you a couple rapid fire questions to get to know you, or kind of like what you like, and basically tell all our viewers a little bit about you. All right. So we'll go with favorite Earthquakes moment.
favorite skate moment may be when we beat Kansas City 5-0 in Kansas City. I believe this was in 2012. No, sorry, 2000. I went in 2015, maybe 2016, because they were kind of going. They were real hot. They were real on fire. They were not losing at home or any of this.
Yeah.
And we just came in and shut them down. I think it was one of the first games Annabelle Godoy was with us, and we was just strong. It just felt good.
It's that chip goal he had, right? That game. I think it was MLS goal of the week.
Did he chip that game? I don't know. I know he had at least one goal when it was kind of, he just did like a twist and turn, but I remember his chip too. I mean, we all remember the chip.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that year where Kansas City was just stellar at home. And I think we've never won at Kansas City away or something like that. And it was like our first time. And that was just I remember that. I was in college. It was a 5-0 win. It was just a great win. I do remember that. And then favorite Earthquakes jersey.
The black ones they have now that I can't wear. I've always wanted to wear a black jersey. I've always wanted to wear a black jersey. Yeah, yes, those.
So for those who are just listening, so I'm wearing this season's jerseys. It's mostly black. It has a little bit of a stripe, but it's the black and blue jerseys that Marvell is referring to. So, yeah.
Wait, Marv, you never wore a black jersey ever in your career?
I think one year when I was in San Diego playing for Surf, they had one, but I could only play one game. Like I just wanted an all black jersey.
Yeah.
So not even that one, the one that's just like all black, the real black one that was maybe in 2017 when I had to retire. So the ones that before this when they're just all black.
Yeah, the Sutter Health one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, those are cool.
I wanted a black jersey, man.
Yeah, when you think of some other sports, like, you know, there's some black jerseys in, like, the Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers, but, like, in MLS, they like to be a bit more colorful, I think.
Well, now with LAFC, right, they have the black and gold. Yeah.
Yeah, and DC's had them forever, and they've always been a certain rival.
DC United, How did I forget them?
There are a couple black jerseys out there, but I don't know. I like black's my favorite color. I think it just looks clean. It just looks nice, and they look sharp.
Yeah, that black is my favorite color too. So I understand.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Now that you first mentioned Raiders being black, because I'm also Raider Nation.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, there we go.
So, Marv, are you a Las Vegas fan now, though? You went along? You were like, okay.
Sticking with them, man.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad grew up in Southside Chicago. And you remember turn on WGN, and for some reason, Raiders were always playing. So that made him a Raider fan.
Oh, wow.
And now that makes me a Raider fan. So no matter where they go, I'm just Raider Nation. It's just in there now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so the next part was favorite thing to eat on game day. That can be as a player or as a commentator or as a fan, right?
Okay, so favorite thing to eat on game day it's changed a bit throughout the years, because before it was, carbo load, try to get as much fuel in there as possible, and then, just try to use it all in the games. But I realized later on after taking a couple like DNA tests that there's like, you have a very low carbohydrate sensitivity, so it actually sit in my stomach for a while.
Oh wow.
So eventually I started moving up to like having kind of big breakfast and tapering off throughout the day. So at the end of it, I think just a nice bowl of granola and milk, just minimal, and then just eat that. It's my last little bit before it comes game time. Gives me energy, doesn't weigh me down, and it ended up being like just the right thing.
That's awesome. That's actually really cool how you found that out, right? I mean, so the first part of your career, you were just overeating, and then was that affecting your game at all? Do you feel?
See, the tough part is I wouldn't know, because that's what I did. I mean, in club games, high school games, you'd have pasta parties. Get all set, get all ready, get all carb loaded. But I tried it, and just once I stopped doing it, so I was like, oh, I get it now. So I would say, I overate for a long time.
Wow. All right, and then so this is another question: who was the hardest player for you to mark?
I feel like I'd be bragging now, because in my head I'm like, Ronaldinho was tough, Messi was tough, Cristiano Ronaldo was tough, Beckham was annoying, Eto'o was pretty fast, but not that fast. Most annoying, I would say Cristiano Ronaldo.
Wow. Okay.
He was super annoying. I played him just he was on Madrid and I was on TFC. And
it was a preseason or mid-season friendly, because it was summer probably.
Yeah. And it was just he was just annoying. Like first he'd get on the ball, so then all the crowd would cheer and be like, yeah, what's he gonna do, Marv? What's he gonna do, Marv? And then he'd get on the ball and he started doing step overs. I'm like, where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Then he just pass it off. I'd be like, whoa. Then one time he actually tried kicking it by me, running by me. I got it from him, but I mean, then again, we went up for one header once. I was all set up. He just jumps from the side, puts it on, goes around, gets the ball back somehow, and then scores. So
wow.
And then I mean, he poster boarded me. It was like on a magazine with me going like this, and he was just flying above me. I was like, well, the sun was in my eyes. I couldn't see him. I didn't know what was going on. Like, no one cares when you're just sitting on top of a magazine just being just owned.
Yeah.
So that will say him.
That's awesome. All right. And then what stadium was the hardest to play in? So this can be any away team that you played against that you felt that their environment was just insane.
Environment just insane. See, I mean, it doesn't really bother me when stadiums are loud. Like Seattle is super loud, but it doesn't really bother me. It's just really frustrating with all that and the turf. So I guess it kind of gets to me in that sort of way.
Yeah.
Fans that kind of, just would rather jeer than cheer, I would say definitely Philadelphia. But a close second place would be Salt Lake.
Okay.
Those fans that are right behind the goal, talking to the keeper the whole warm up, they're not.
Oh wow.
They're not nice people.
Oh
like,
wow.
Okay. I think there was a thing where like Tim Howard turned around and he said something back to him, and everyone's like, oh, "How could he say that?" I'm like, I guarantee they were saying way worse. But finally, he said something, and then there it goes. They said a couple things. They said a couple things to me too, but it's just, it is.
That was that Rocky Mountain rivalry, right? Rapids, Real Salt Lake.
I think it was, again, I was never on Tim Howard's team as a Rapid, but I do remember hearing that he said something back to their fans, and it would most likely would be in Salt Lake. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if like you heard those things from the RSL fans, probably both when you were both at San Jose Earthquakes and Colorado Rapids, because you play all the Western Conference teams pretty often. But yeah.
Yeah, I heard things from the fans back there. They said they said that we were doing a jog around the field at the end, and it's like, Marv, I blanked your sister. And I was like, I don't have a sister, but, wow. But that's a really mean thing to say.
Yeah.
So I there's no doubt in my head that Salt Lake, again, a second two. But Philly, they love jeering. I really think they do. It's fun. It's more fun there.
Yeah, I never knew that about RSL. Wow, that's nice little tidbit there. During your time on the Quakes, who did you hang out with the most?
Brian Meredith and I hung out quite a bit. Let's see, Sean Francis a bit. Okay. And then obviously when Chad Barrett came along, I mean, we went to UCLA together.
Yeah.
There you go. Then we also played in Toronto together. So I mean, once he came, he was my roommate, and then we were just boys again.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that guy. He recently had a daughter, so if he ever hears this or anything, congratulations, Chad.
Yeah, congrats, Chad. That's great.
He's one of my best friends when it comes to the soccer world.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Chad Barrett reminds me of what Will Bruin's doing right now for the Seattle Sounders. Mm-hmm. He's a very hardworking and pretty useful player to have. He bounced around a lot in the league, but wherever he went, like, you would get some production out of him, and teammates enjoyed being around him. So he's definitely a player that I enjoyed seeing play.
Yeah, it's good to hear that. I like hearing some good stuff about some good people.
Do you still stay in contact with Sean Francis and Brian Meredith as well?
No, not as much, to be honest. Mostly just Chad. I mean, I kind of wish I did, but there's just such a revolving door. I mean, I played in Toronto for 3 years. I mean, that was just in and out and in and out and in and out. Coaches, players, staff, anything. So, I actually don't talk to them too much. Don't really see what they're doing or anything. But that's one thing about my post career that I wish I could adjust a little bit to. Keep in touch with those guys.
Yeah, I think Brian Meredith still works for plays for Vancouver, right? I think he's still.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, that's right.
He's still in the league, and so hopefully he's doing well during this crazy 2020.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Sean Francis recently he last played for Louisville City, one of the better USL Championship teams, and he last played in 2019. So maybe he's still around in the United States. I know he's originally from Jamaica, so maybe he splits his time. But yeah, it's good players to become friends with, though, even if you don't speak to them as much as you would like.
Right.
Yeah. So
real quick, I want to just acknowledge, since we covered this question in the rapid fire segment, Jeff Vikas wanted to know your favorite game in San Jose Earthquakes jersey. Thank you for the question. And also want to thank our sponsor of this podcast, Roughneck Scarves. And then we can talk a little bit about your childhood and early experiences with the sport. Go ahead, Fabi.
Yeah, so your father played as an outfield for the Pittsburgh Pirates, San Diego Padres, Chicago Cubs, and the Hanshin Tigers in Japan. Did he inspire you to pursue sports as a passion and later a career?
If they did, it was so early on that I didn't really notice. I got into soccer going to watch one of my friends play in little indoor, and they were down a man. So my mom just volunteered me. They were all 4, I was 3, and I just kept running, and I really enjoyed myself. So then I just kind of kept playing soccer. Then, he'd want to go in the backyard and try throwing the ball around, playing baseball and all that. I'm like, this is a lot slower and a lot less fun than what I'm used to. But, all right, Dad. But either way, I just like playing sports. So growing up, I played soccer, gymnastics, basketball, flag football, volleyball, some baseball. I ran track in high school. So I played a lot of different sports. They were all fun, but I guess when it became older and colleges were looking at things, one of his 2 main tips for professional advice is, if someone's coming out to watch you and there's a showcase or anything, don't try to play above and beyond your own talents, because even if you do pull them off and you get into whatever school or onto whatever team and you don't perform at the level that you showed, then you're just you missold yourself. They're going to be expecting more, and you can't do that. But what you need to know is they're coming out, they know you, they've heard about you for a reason. Just go out and do what you do. Give them what they know you're going to give them, and just do it consistently, and that'll take you far.
That's awesome. Okay. That's a nice little piece of advice for all you guys trying to make it pro out there. That's great advice, actually, because you don't want to label as a bust, right?
Yeah, exactly. Granted, he would never think I would be number 1 overall or anything, but I was like, I'll give that to my dad.
Yeah. So you were born in Pittsburgh, but I guess you spent most of your childhood after your dad finished his playing days in baseball in Poway, right? In San Diego?
San Diego, yeah. I think I was in Pittsburgh for maybe 2 weeks, and then we went out to San Diego. We were in downtown San Diego for a bit, but Rancho Bernardo and Poway mostly is where I was raised.
Well, so I moved to San Diego in 2019, and we currently live in Scripps Ranch, so we're right near Poway. So that's small world right there.
You're a neighbor. You're a neighbor
Yeah,
of
there
mine.
we go.
I absolutely know Scripps Ranch.
Yeah, there we go. So, and in Poway High School, correct? That was your high?
Hello? Ivan?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So, yeah, that's where you set a 100-meter dash time of 10.39 seconds. So that's pretty much when you knew that, regardless of what sport you're getting into, most likely soccer at that point, you were going to be one of the fastest players on the field, if not the fastest, more often than not. Huh.
Well, to be honest, I never really considered myself to be that above and beyond fast.
Wow.
Which is, it's weird to say, but whenever I would play, it would just, I would run enough to get the ball back.
Right.
It wasn't but there was a feeling of, if you have the ball and you're running towards my net, I'm going to catch you. You will not get there. I will not let you get there. Yeah. So I suppose in one way it wasn't, I know I'm fast. It doesn't matter. I can outrun anybody. It was more so, I've got this defending thing down, so I'm just gonna stick to that. So people want me to Dominic Oduro to race, or Dane Richards. We were on the Red Bulls together for a bit. Very fast guys, but there was never any you want to go, bro? You want to go?
Okay. Do you think you could have beat him though, if there was?
They're both quicker than me. Oh no. Dom had long strides like me, so I think Dane Richards could beat me short distance. Maybe even his 40 was faster.
Right.
But you're not getting away from me. You're not going down the field, man.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your experience at UCLA for the 2 years you played soccer. How did you like it? Was there a lot of partying behind the scenes? How was it for Marvell Wynne at UCLA?
So unfortunately, I probably have the most boring college experience of like ever. I was so nervous about being at UCLA and performing that I would go to bed at at like 9 o'clock at night and just be so nervous for whatever preseason or for whatever practices that we're gonna have to have, because I felt like I had to perform and I was so nervous. Like there were a couple parties. There was a soccer house for a little bit. That has since been torn down, and they sent it to us on like Facebook, and everyone that's like cried because that was like our gathering spot. I think Chad Barrett lived in that house for a little bit. So
oh wow.
So I mean, there were definitely some fun experiences, but a lot of the experience, I mean, I loved going there. I loved being around like-minded individuals. A bunch of athletes. It was the first time I saw a college football player, and I'm like, where were you built? Like, there's no way that you're human. These people are massive. So I mean, it was good, a lot of fun experiences, but while the partying and outside of stuff, I was just laser focused. It was super, super boring, and I would say that I'm one of the select few that move on while being in that kind of zone. I think a lot of people have fun and enjoy themselves tend to perform better. So I was just very strict on things, and made it out though.
That's awesome. Did you ever go back and finish your degree, or did you finish it in those 2 years? How did that go down?
So when I first got drafted, I was like, okay, everything's focused on soccer. Got to focus on soccer. I'll go back someday. Mm-hmm. Retirement happens, or I think in 2016, I started looking into SNHU, the sponsor of Major League Soccer, and you get like 75% off tuition. So I started going back into there, and I was doing that for a couple of years. Then COVID hit, and then my wife needed some help with her businesses and things. So I actually have put that off for a little bit.
Awesome.
Taking a sabbatical.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your wife's business? Like, what do you help her with?
So she is a yoga instructor, but she owns a building that has her yoga studio, a natural grocery store, and a restaurant. And then above that, there are some apartments. So I've helped her get their apartments rented out. I've helped for little maintenance things around her around the store, and even the yoga studio. We've actually done a couple of videos because I'm in training. I'm a certified yoga instructor now.
Oh wow!
I helped her do some videos and post those online so that I can be a little So I can be a little dummy, or she can do the more advanced poses, and I'll do a modified versions so you can see what it's supposed to look like and what you look like.
When are we gonna get the day that Marvell Wynne has a yoga class in the middle of Avaya where we're socially distanced, right? Open air. Is that gonna happen?
I hope that would happen soon. That'd be amazing. I would absolutely love to do that.
Awesome.
I get people through like my own little my own flow that I think is the most effective for me. Like it'll probably get a lot of lower back and a lot of hip. But I would absolutely love that.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta send an email to the right person, so maybe that could be like a season ticket holder thing. That'd be cool.
Let's go. I mean, we're in San Jose, we're in California. We're just about to health nuts and anything. We'll have couscous on the side for everybody to have. Be fine. Quinoa.
Quinoa. Yeah, seeing these Peloton commercials and all these different things where like they have the live instructor sessions along with you're doing the workouts from home, like does that kind of like add a little fuel to the fire with this yoga business? Is like, oh well, you know what, we're not gonna let some pandemic stop us from accomplishing our goals here.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was a huge part of it. I mean, so I was kind of taught kind of halfway between COVID and not COVID. So when she was telling us like, this is how you're supposed to move, this is how you help people out, this is how you adjust their poses and things, she's so used to being hands-on and speaking in front of people that when we started setting up cameras and having her doing it remotely, it was just off. She has a mountain of knowledge in her head, but it was just difficult teaching when there's nothing in front of you that you can vibe off of and adjust poses and things. So that's been a little tough, but I mean, she's been doing very well. She's gotten new clients just by doing this online format and things. So it's actually going very well for her. I'm very happy for her.
If any of our listeners want to go ahead and support your wife, do you have a link or anything that you would want to let everybody know?
Yeah, so on Instagram, I think her handle is yoga7. So yoga the number 7 and then even. So yoga 7 even, I guess.
Awesome.
And then that's the way to follow her on Instagram.
Perfect. All right. So, really quickly, you entered the MLS SuperDraft in 2006 after 2 seasons in college. These days, it seems like the majority of the MLS SuperDraft hopefuls played their 4 years of eligibility in college. So you entered this league relatively younger. Was it a tough decision at the time to make that step up, even as one, if not the highest rated prospect in the country?
I want to say it wasn't very difficult. See, when I was going, so I had first gone to the U20 World Cup, and that was in Enschede in Holland, and I'd been getting some interest from teams overseas, Feyenoord, FC Metz, Monaco, Anderlecht, and Hamburg.
Oh, wow.
I can remember. And at the time, it was like, you know, do you want to go over to Europe and play soccer right now? And I'm just like 18-year-old Marv was like, I don't want to. I was scared. I was scared to go. I didn't think I was good enough. I thought UCLA was a good fit for me. So I went back for another season. I performed well. And then like, well, there's this Generation Adidas thing, and we can provide you with these contracts, and then you can have this opportunity. Plus, you'll still be at home. And
awesome.
It looks like Chivas USA will be drafting you, so you'll be right here in LA still. And then I was like, okay, all these things sound great. I mean, why not go for it? So at the time, I remember talking to my mom and of course my coach at the time, and they're like, you know, you're in a great situation. You know, you'd be right here. You'd be getting a full ride. I mean, not a lot of people get this opportunity. And, you know, when you get to that next level, your salary is based on performance, and you have to show up every day. And we're not sure if you can do that yet. So there's a little bit of doubt coming from the two people that are most influenced or influenced me the most when it comes to my soccer career. But despite that, it kind of felt comfortable leaving anyway. Mostly because there was this guy, Brandon Owens, that was played before me, or he got to the college before me. I grew up playing soccer with him. His parents wanted him to stay an extra year. Then the next year, bam, got his ACL torn out. You know, so it's just like, I don't. If I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. I don't want to stay around, and you know. So I think I lucked out. You know, college sports are very physical.
Right. So you ended up being drafted by the New York Metro Stars, then the New York Red Bulls, as we've established. And so it took also, I think, a coaching change for Bruce Arena to take over for you to really get your big break and start to play more regularly. And so how was that like breaking into that first team for the first time, probably your first hurdle in your professional career?
Well, that was a tough part. So Mo Johnston was the one that drafted me. He traded up from the 3rd pick to get me over there. Then when he was sacked, he became the head coach of Toronto, so he traded for me again. So when I was going to play under Bruce Arena, I was like, oh, you know, national team coach, whatever. He had Pierre with him, and he was the guy. He was the fitness instructor that had us for the U20. So I'm like, oh, Pierre, great, I know you.
Yeah,
man, like, I know exactly what we're going to do for fitness. But when I was there, one thing I could say about Bruce Arena is that he doesn't really like developing young talent. I mean, even when he was there, he got rid of a lot of the young guys because he wanted to bring in veterans. I mean, I wasn't 1-for-1 traded for Juan Pablo Angel, but it was pretty close. Like it was like I got some allocation money for him or something like that. And then when we saw Bruce go over to Galaxy for a bit, he did the same thing. He let go of one of my guys I grew up with, Mike Randolph. I think Mike Stevens was one of the one guys that he kept along that was a young kid, but he just liked coming in, getting his veterans, and then just basically playing like he did with the national team. He didn't have time to build you up and make you a better player. You will get better by playing around these other players. And if you can get onto the pitch, then you get some game time experience. But other than that, he's not making sure that you know how to do this right, or where you're supposed to be tactically. It's just he comes on, he's like, this is what I want from you, do it. And if you can't do it, I'm going to get someone who can, and then they'll all know how to do it, so then they'll help everybody else. So just another way of coaching.
Right, that makes sense because I remember the 2006 World Cup squad that Bruce Arena was the head coach of. He only had 2 players in that squad under the age of 24 at the time, which was Bobby Convey and Eddie Johnson. And then the next youngest players Landon Donovan and DeMarcus Beasley, they already had that World Cup experience too. So he wasn't like taking a chance on these young players. He liked the experienced veterans, and we saw that again when he took over as head coach again in the 2010s. So that does make sense. That lines up with what we know of Bruce Arena.
Yeah, which is something that has to change. I mean, we can. I mean, I'm probably the last team that went to the Olympics in 2008. That speaks to our youth. You know what I mean?
Wow.
We need more going on. I mean, whether it be you have the conflict of saying, don't you think multi-sport athletes can make the best soccer players, or if it's just we raise soccer players and then they're better tactically. It's wherever you go.
Yeah, it's never as clear cut as like, oh yeah, take Tom Brady out of football, put him in soccer. Take LeBron James out of basketball, put him in soccer. We're winning a World Cup. It's not that simple. Yeah. When you look at the women's soccer team, U.S. women's national team, that these aren't the types of players, like you're not going to put Megan Rapinoe on the basketball court. So these are soccer players that they live and breathe the sport their whole lives, and that they're able to accomplish so many great things. And if there's something lost between how we're developing young girls to become great soccer players and young guys to become great soccer players. So that's definitely interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if I wouldn't mind putting Megan Rapinoe on our flank for the U.S. men's national team. She would do great. I mean, she's so good. I think she would be better than a lot of our guys.
Take no mess. Come here. You hit me, bro.
Exactly.
She recently engaged, I think, to Sue Bird too. Congratulations to her.
Congratulations.
Good for her. Congratulations.
Yeah. So you also made your U.S. men's national team debut in a friendly against Argentina in 2007, which preceded your involvement in the 2008 Olympic squad for the Beijing Olympics. So that must have been an incredible experience. Tell us a little bit more about that.
They're really good at soccer. Argentina is really good. I mean, I think we were even winning 1-0 at halftime, and then it was just experiencing such a different level directly, and it was so many small things. It was just Mascherano in the middle, just laying off balls one touch and diving them perfectly. And then everybody else kind of moving and knowing what they're doing. And then when they're on the ball, they could do whatever they wanted. There's potential that they could run by you. There's potential that they can do a 1-2 around you. They can dribble you and juke you out of your socks and then move on. It seemed like before with MLS soccer and national team things, in American, like, we're very fit. We like to run. We're just a very fit country. So we get the ball and you pass and move. When you're not on the ball, you move. So we're just very active and we just move all over the place and so often. But seeing them, that's just like they could have walked and everything would have played just the way they did it, because they're just so good technically. It was overwhelmingly impressive.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. And so you make your debut against one of the best teams in the world, and Argentina would eventually send an Olympic squad that would win the gold medal in Beijing. And when you do get to the Olympics, you're put in a really tough group. You just barely miss out on reaching the knockout stage with Nigeria, who got the silver medal with 7 points. And then you drew Netherlands, which is always a good team too. Ajax is always producing young players for Olympic squads like this. So so you got to be a part of some good teams, and you got to be, it seemed like at the time that, okay, Marvell Wynne is going to be a defender that we can count on. It didn't quite go that way. You didn't get as many caps as you would have liked, but you still got to experience what a lot of people dream of, to represent your country at the highest level. So congrats on that.
Thank you. And I wouldn't take any of that back for anything. I mean, things didn't pan out the way I would like. Of course, I would have loved to have a lot more national team games, but at the same time, I don't know, it just wasn't a good fit for Bob Bradley. He was the one that had us I was a part of those January camps for the first 4 or 5 years of my career. And it's just, you're just looking to go, I don't know, good, I guess probably just more skillful. He wanted to be more safe, I suppose. I can understand. I'm not the best technically on the ball. I mean, that's for sure. If you want to put me against anybody that wants to outpace me or outmuscle me, I mean, I'll do it all day long. But if you want someone on the flank that could themselves go up and take corner kicks and take free kicks and do perfect crosses from all over the pitch. I completely understand. I just never got there.
Yeah. So at the height of when you were getting the caps during the late 2000s, early 2010s, did you ever have in your minds like, okay, my goal is I'm going to try to make the 2010 World Cup squad, or like, if it happens, it happens? What was your mentality at that time?
Same advice my dad gave me. Try your best every practice, try your best every game, but just don't try to do what's above and beyond you. I mean,
Right.
I'm one of those guys that kind of gets, like, one of my pet peeves is students saying, oh, but it's playoff time. This is when the games get really good. Because that makes it sound like, oh, this is when they're actually trying more. And
Right.
and that never clicked with me. I always tried as hard as I could every game. So, I mean, if what I did was not good enough, then I'm not good enough, period. And I'm okay with that.
All right. And then our next fan question comes from Daniel Garza, asks, what is your favorite memory representing the national team? So this kind of goes with what we were talking about.
I suppose my favorite memory with the national team would be beating Spain in the Confederations Cup or Copa America?
Confederations Cup 2009.
Confederations Cup. That's the one. The Confederations Cup 2009. And that was in the semifinals. And they were going on some crazy streak as well. Like, hadn't lost however many games in a row and won World Cup and all that. I mean, that was awesome. I was right on the bench, cool with it. I was still there, got to experience it all. And then, even the next game, we were winning 2-0 against Brazil.
Right.
And then they were like, okay, we're going to start dancing on you. And then they did. So that was, I mean, again, that whole experience was awesome. And I was really involved in it. And it was, I don't know, we were in Peoria, I believe, and or Pretoria. And it was just, I don't know, that was so exciting. It was so exciting. Like, I'm like, that's what I truly felt like. So this is what the national team is going to be like going to these countries, being like having buses follow you, and having motorcycle guys follow you with machine guns, cutting off traffic, and you're just like, you are protected. No one's allowed on your floor. You get off the elevator, a guy's there with a gun, just making sure nothing else happens. Yo.
Yeah, that was intense.
Bruh.
Yeah. So was Peoria the training camp for the Confederations Cup? Because I believe the game in question against Spain, it was in Free State Stadium, Bloemfontein.
Yeah, I think that's like generally what it was, because the Confederations Cup is like the like World Cup light, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, it has the stadiums essentially like a dress rehearsal.
Yeah, so that's where we were. That's where we know it more, like, because that's where we stayed, Victoria.
Yeah, that game was incredible. One of the most famous wins in U.S. soccer history. Looking at the Spain lineup that started that game, one player removed essentially from the lineups that they would use throughout their World Cup winning run a year later. So an incredible achievement there. And even to take Brazil to a 3-2 loss, I think it showed that there's a lot of growth in this program. So being a part of that squad must have been so much fun.
I enjoyed myself. It was again, I felt like a boy around men. Like, I'm like, what am I doing on this stage? What am I doing right by this stage? I'm touching the grass. No way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next question we have here. So I initially wanted to ask you, was it difficult to adjust playing the Toronto FC after establishing yourself at the Red Bulls? And but since you were traded to where the coach that drafted you now coached at Toronto FC, so did that make the transition easier?
So I was first insulted. I was, I didn't want to get traded. It felt like,
right.
This is not great. But the other little bit of advice my dad gave me was, being traded is never a negative. That just means someone wants you more than where you are now.
Right.
And in doing so, it was Mo Johnson. So I was comfortable with him. But what made it better was Mo Adu was there. And we had played a lot of soccer together growing up.
Right.
And I think he was number 1 overall that year in his draft, I believe. I know he was rookie of the year, that's for sure. So it was great seeing him. Was it here with Chance Myers? Son.
Let's see.
So
he was the first overall pick in the 2007 MLS SuperDraft by Toronto.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when I went there, it was mostly I got to talk to Mo again. Like we were boys and all that. So that was cool. He kind of introduced me to the guys, and they're all super cool. But playing in Toronto was different because they they cared. I mean, I know I was on the Red Bulls going to different cities, and there wasn't much going on. But going to Toronto, I mean, they were like, "You play for TFC? You play for TFC? Wait, you're doing 16 win?" And they're like, but they're like
Wow.
still nice Canadians. So like, "Oh my gosh, good luck." Like ran away. I was like, "This is cool." So I felt like a celebrity, and I also felt like it was like a thing to do. Like you run into anybody, we're seeking ticket holders. We're seeking ticket holders. But
Wow.
the actual playing in Toronto as well. I mean, the city's amazing. Everything's great. To know that you get to pay taxes twice in States and Canada, that's annoying and frustrating.
Oh.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, and even then the turf wasn't that bad because we were at the Meadowlands for the Red Bulls initially. So I played on turf there. And then I played for turf for 3 years with Toronto. And so it would end up that turf is the bane of every pro soccer player's existence. They hate it. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the big guys come through, the
Yeah.
DPs, and say,
Yeah.
I'm not playing on turf.
Yeah.
It makes sense. We get it.
Oh
But
yeah.
I mean, I guess the hardest part about that was the taxes thing. Other than that, everything else was pretty cool and great.
Awesome. And then was playing soccer living in Canada much different than in the United States? Was it that the altitude, or I guess the temperature difference, was that too big, or anything that made it different than United States?
It was just a little frustrating with the temperature. I mean, it was cold, but at the same time, you knew you were playing in cold. It's not so bad. But I guess the worst thing is just every time we traveled at that time, because Montreal wasn't in it, Vancouver wasn't in it, we had to go through customs.
Oh,
So
yeah.
even our travel was just that much longer and that much more frustrating. And I think for our first year, Mo Johnston, if we had a game in California, we would fly out that Friday, not train at all, and then go and play the game on Saturday. Like it
Oh,
was,
wow.
yeah. I mean, he was definitely he was a former player. He was definitely a player's coach, but wasn't exactly what we needed.
Right.
Right, and that kind of makes a little more sense now because as Canadian teams got added to the league a few years later, and as maybe travel got a bit easier, and due to COVID, maybe we took a few steps back there. But Toronto started to perform better, and it was a tough first few years as an expansion franchise. But fortunately, you weren't there to experience like Sebastian Jovinko and those players come through to Toronto FC, but they found their feet eventually.
Yeah, they did. We knew that they were willing to throw money at the team. They just didn't really know how or where.
Right.
So they just
Wow.
kept, like, fine, we need this player. Then we need this player. Then we need this player. And it was just, okay, bye. Hi, bye, guys. All right, sweet. All right, well.
Dwayne De Rosario, a beloved figure in San Jose Earthquakes, he was there for Toronto FC a bit.
Yeah, I played with Dwayne. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know D-Row well.
There we go.
All right. You played 5 seasons for the Rapids. Why do you think you and the Rapids were such a good fit?
I would have to say because of our back line. So Gary Smith was the first one to make me a center back because they were, I think their player Julian Baudet and was injured. And he was like, well, I see you coming in. So my whole trade experience was I was traded on Wednesday, getting ready to play Columbus for Toronto. But I get a call saying I was traded. So Thursday, I actually fly to LA because the Rapids are playing Chivas on Friday. So I meet my coach and I meet my roommate on Thursday. And then Friday morning, the day of the game, I meet everybody at breakfast. And then we go out and play that afternoon or evening. So why we really molded, I think it was like the welcome. I mean,
that's awesome.
Kosuke Kimura on my right, Matt Pickens in goal, Drew Moore next to me, and Danny Earls, who was my roommate at the time. Like the communication and how welcoming and fun it was, it just kind of fit. I can't really explain why, but
yeah,
we played very well. And then once you just go right in front of us with Jeff Laronowitz and Pablo Mastroeni, then you have Omar Cummings and Connor Casey up top. Brian Mullen brought experience. Then we had Jamie Smith. I mean, those starting guys. It was a nice compilation of veterans mixed with high energy and like the youthful aspect of really wanting to do something. So
right.
I mean, and Gary Smith was a great coach. He had boring training sessions, but after each training session, you knew exactly what he wanted from you.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So then, sorry, I lost my spot briefly. So, my bad. You got to play with Quincy Amarikwa, who we had the pleasure of interviewing in a previous podcast. What was he like as a teammate?
The man talks a lot. Man talks a lot. It's almost like whatever, like the joke was like, whatever you're talking about right now, Quincy has a major in. And he double majored in whatever you're about to talk about next.
Right.
Like it's just like he just always has answers to things. And it was just talkative, but he was funny to have in the locker room. Like he would just either talk smack or just give a weird look over at someone for some reason. But you just start laughing because you know he's just a jokester. He's just having a good time.
Trying to get in your head.
As long as things go his way. He tries to get in your head. But I never had that fun like playing against Quincy. But he would just tell me, he would just walk up to the guys and be like, "Bro, I'm in your head. I got you." Like you just do that straight up, and it's just like, that's awesome. Like that's funny. Go for it.
Yeah, that's exactly how he would say it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the guy do it in practice. Even in practice, he has that like that bumpy walk that he has because his legs are unproportional. Like one leg longer than the other, so he kind of has like this strut thing, and he's always on his toes. But he's like, oh. Like it's just funny.
So did you often have to play each other in practice?
Well, we played each other in practice all the time, and it was always physical because it was always fast, and we're very similar we're very similar builds. We're both known for being fast and strong. So playing against each other, it would be a lot of like trying to show him one way. He'll probably do one move, me try to hold off a little bit, and he definitely had his fair share of goals. I mean, no doubt. But it was just fun to play against him. It was one of those. I got to go against Quincy, but at the same time, it's like, this is good for me.
Right.
I don't want to be in a comfortable place because I don't grow that way.
So really quickly, we asked Quincy on our podcast if he had his championship ring laying around. Do you still have yours as well?
I am currently in Denver, so I do not have mine on me, but mine is in Quincy, Illinois, where home is.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Does yours have Marvell on it, or does it have Wynne? Because Quincy's actually has Quincy on it and not America.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine has Wynne on it.
Oh, okay.
Wynne, my number. I think it has a score of. Did he show it to you?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So we saw it. We have it. Yeah, it's nice.
There's a lot of information on there. It's crazy. But I guess I still have my ring. I wasn't gonna show it to you guys, but definitely still got it.
Yeah, Quincy was saying that he's I think the only professional player to have his first name on a championship ring. So good to find out that you have Wynne on yours.
Yeah. But like in my head, Quincy would do that on purpose so he could be the only one. Like who else would think of that except for someone who wanted to do that on purpose,
Right. Okay, so tell us about that 2010 season and the run to the MLS Cup. Were there many people shocked that the Rapids made and the FC Dallas made the finals? Like, was there any talks in the locker room? Like, nobody really knows us that well here, or?
Yeah, that's what I would think. It felt more like a rebuilding year sort of thing because I think Drew Moore, Jeff Larentowicz may have come midway through the previous season. And then when you look at our team in the finals, I think that got there that same year, or in 2010 was me, Brian Mullen, Makuma Kanji ended up playing. Anthony Wallace was the left back. I think we might have added one or two more, but it was just kind of bringing a few guys together and seeing what they can do. And we all surprised ourselves. I mean, we loved having Jeff and Pablo in the center of the park. I mean, we basically played with two defensive mids, so our whole plan was, you are not scoring on us. We might score a goal, but if we do, you're not scoring on us. Like that's what's like our whole thing. And we were all kind of on the same page. It felt so comfortable, a feeling that I haven't felt on any other team professionally. The closest one would be when I went to San Jose. But when we got on the field, it was just comfortable. Like before I got the ball, I knew where I was going. They knew what I was thinking. And then we just kind of moved like a machine. And we all knew what was going on. Dallas, on the other hand, they had gone on some run where they had so many games won in a row, or taking no losses at home or some kind of record-breaking season, and they were the hot team. I remember when it became us in the finals, it was pretty scary because we hadn't lost to them throughout the season, but I think we tied them both times.
Yeah.
So just on paper of what had happened throughout the year was, man, this is going to be another one. Like, so we just leading up to it, I was nervous as going to be, but I was happy because Preki traded me from Toronto earlier that year. He got canned in the summer. So I took pleasure in that, which I shouldn't have. And the final was back in Toronto. So, I mean, I was on one. I was like, this is meant to be. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, you also beat San Jose Earthquakes in the process in the conference final. It was an odd system where, because there were 6 teams that qualified from the Western Conference and 2 from the Eastern Conference, that 2 teams from the West had to go through the East, and it ended up being Rapids and Quakes booting out the only Eastern Conference teams that year. And then in a defensive showdown, Rapids got the 1-0 win over the Quakes. In hindsight, having played for both teams, what was that game like, and did it make it a bit awkward at first going to the San Jose Earthquakes?
I never really held grudges against other teams because I never had to go to a rival team. Like when I was on New York, they're like, I mean, there wasn't really like a rival that I really was supposed to be about. No, it's supposed to be Chicago, but I was like, I don't get it. Then we go to Toronto, like, Columbus is your rival for the Trillium Cup. I was like, okay. I didn't care. I didn't care. But when I went to Colorado, instantly, very first game against Salt Lake, it was just bam, like you got hit hard with an elbow or something. You're like, oh, okay, so we're playing now. so like that never really got awkward. Like if I got traded to Salt Lake, I would have felt weird. I would have felt awkward. San Jose, nah, not so much. And even in that game, I think Kosuke Kimura, like he kicked a long ball that happened to jump over the keeper, and I think that's how we ended up winning that one. So even in that game, it was still tough. And I mean, I always had respect, but I also, it was a joke for the center backs, any defender. When you play against the Bash brothers, we played against Lenny and there's the other big dude.
Alan Gordon.
It was just, where's your bruise? Like we'd be in the locker rooms like, oh, wait, there's one. And it's just a black and blue patch, or it's on your side, or it's by your neck. Because they would just scrap and scrape. That's just how they played. Like we're getting up for a head or whatever, and they just automatically go and grab and scrape. I don't even know if it's malicious. They're just crazy guys. But so that's the only thing I had against them. But even then, it wasn't like, well, these guys are doing it on purpose. It was just they're grabbers.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, do you still keep in contact with the 2010 MLS Winning Cup team? Other than the Broncos Super Bowl, you have a leg up against any other Denver team in the last decade. Maybe it bonds you guys together?
Only a little bit. I mean, this was supposed to be the 10-year anniversary, and there was actually supposed to be a plan of having everybody they could come in when Nashville played against the Rapids, because basically our entire coaching staff is on it's the Nashville coaching staff now.
Oh, wow.
Gary Smith to John Ireland, the fitness trainer, and Steve Goupay, the assistant coach, and even Brett, another assistant coach. Like we have a couple guys there. So when they were going to come by, we're going to be like, all right, we're going to have, a dinner. We're going to spend a weekend together, and then we're going to try to fly in Pablo in there as well. But COVID happened, so I don't really talk to too many guys. But I mean, Drew Moore, I was recently on a podcast with him. He's a great guy. Him and Clint Irwin are back. So which is great. And then again, another one of those things just kind of fade away. Anthony Wallace is just a great guy, so I keep in contact with him a little bit. But I miss me some. I still get to watch Jeff Lorenowicz play.
Right.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, he doesn't plan on retiring anytime soon, I don't think.
He doesn't look like it, does he? He still looks sprightly. I mean, he's moved his way back to center back sometimes, but clearly that's just a leadership role. You can tell he's a leader. They want him on the field in any capacity because he knows what he's doing and he knows how to get the most out of his teammates.
Right. Yeah, he's a great teammate for sure. Because of what you were able to accomplish with the Rapids, and including winning that MLS Cup on BMO Field, which was important to you as you played with Toronto previously. Was it hard to say goodbye when you made that move from Rapids to the Quakes?
Yeah, that one was tough. And what made it tough was Pablo Mastroeni had become the head coach at the time.
Right.
But he kind of just walked me through the whole process in terms of, look, man, like there's just so much stuff going on behind the scenes that I didn't know about being a player, and there's just a lot going on, man. So, I mean, we're gonna try to keep you around, man. But we'll see. And just the way we talked to me about that, and like I don't know, like exit interview and all that, I knew it was gonna be let go. I didn't know where in the world I was going. This is when, like, oh, you'll be a free agent, whatever, in the free agency world of MLS, which is going to be a draft anyway, and then they have to give you a bona fide offer and all this other stuff. So I did not want to leave. I had bought a place here. I was very at home. I was very comfortable, but that's the writing was on the wall. So I was kind of mentally prepared myself, which you travel a lot as a professional soccer player. So I knew I was going to be out. I just didn't know where, but I was open to it. Just, all right, let's see what may happen.
So how did playing for the Quakes come to fruition? Did someone give you a call? Who was the first person from the Quakes organization to talk to you?
I think the first person to talk to me was Dustin Clover. I think it's Dustin Clover. I think was a team manager at the time. But the first person to tell me was my friend Lisa. I was like, "Congrats, you're back in California." I was not supposed to go to the Quakes. So when they go about this bona fide offer thing, I was actually going to go to Vancouver.
Oh wow!
With Carl Robinson, who I had played with Toronto.
Yeah.
They had negotiations with my agent. They said, "Okay, this is what we have here." And when you're doing a bona fide offer, someone from MLS is like, they pretty much analyze you and they go about your stats and they basically come up with a number that you're basically worth. And Vancouver's was higher than San Jose's.
Oh wow!
So it's not like one person going around. They have like regions and zones. So Vancouver's like, okay, done deal. We just got to wait for our time to come in the draft, and we got you. I'm like, cool, no problem. And so I'm sitting there waiting, and then I get a text from my friend saying, "Yeah, you're going back to California." I'm like, it's my agent. I'm like, wait, what's going on? Like, what's going on? Because he hadn't talked to Dom at all. He hadn't talked to anybody up there with the Quakes before, but I guess Dom just saw an opportunity. He's like, I like him as a player. He was actually my coach when like Generation Adidas went over to, I believe, Spain. So he had actually coached me before, which is so funny. But then he's like, "You know what, Marvell? Yeah, we actually want you here. We're not using it as any bargaining chip or anything. I think you could really add to our back line and all that sort of stuff." So I was like, "All right, man, let's see how this goes." And man, we had a good defense in 2015. I thought we were absolutely solid. So you gotta give respect to Dominic Kinnear. He knew what he was talking about when he brought me in. He really did.
Talking about your Quake playing days, what was the training like with Dom Kinnear as the coach? Any players in particular you had trouble defending or locked you up? Or you locked up?
Yeah.
Yes. See, that's always going to be up in the air for me as well, because I would never think that like after one game, you might have someone in your pocket, but if you play them so many times, then it's just
right.
They get you sometimes, you get them sometimes. I forget his name, that used to play on the left side and from the Latin America. I believe
MPG.
He was drafted with me.
Oh
no, not him. Oh, he was predictable. He's very skillful, but he's predictable in his way of being unpredictable.
I know who you're talking about. He got loaned to Chivas, right? I forgot his name.
So because he came the same. It was me, Sano Nayasi, and him at the same time. But we would go against each other all the time. I mean, just constantly. And we never really, like, one never really bested the other. I mean, once he had his days, like, he was on. I mean, he was tricky. He was hard to cover. But then some days he was a little off. I would get in there.
Leandro Barrera?
Yep.
Barrera. That's him.
Yeah, there we go.
So, I mean, he's the one I remember the most going against over and over again. Other than that, other guys, of course, cause you trouble. They're professional players, but he was the one that I would actually go against a lot. Actually, him and Shea Salinas a lot, actually.
Oh, Shea.
Shay's just, obviously he's way more direct. than Herrera, but he's smart and he still moves around. In no way is an easy guy to defend. It's just those are the two guys that I would go against the most.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
awesome.
clash of styles usually. Like everyone is there for a reason. Everyone's talented, of course, but it's like rock, paper, scissors. Sometimes they get you more
Yep,
than others. Yeah.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So, what was it like playing in front of the Quakes fans, whether it be Buckshaw Stadium or Avaya/Earthquake Stadium? I'm not sure if you played in both, but just in general.
Yeah, I just played against the Quakes at Buckshaw. I was fortunate
Right.
enough to be in this hoity-toity Avaya Stadium at the time,
Largest
which
bar.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. I mean, Avaya, I really enjoy that stadium. I think it's great. But even it shows just how much tunnel vision I have. I didn't understand or know what their like fan section was.
Mm.
I had no idea what the ultras were, or I wouldn't give them a second thought because of how in the zone I was when I played against the Quakes.
Yeah.
But once I was on the Quakes and seeing them, they're just like the rowdiest guys, and it's just like all they want is just like the us to look back, and then Wando obviously gives his appreciation at the end of every game. I was
Yeah.
like, that's nice. It's a very subtle way. It's like that's nice. I like that they do that.
So
So
yeah, which head coaches do you think were easier to get on their good side or along with get with right away?
So I'd have to think Mo Johnston. I think Mo Johnston really wanted me to be his little baby and take me under his wing.
Mm.
So I think he liked me. Preki was by far the worst. He's just. I mean, Sasha Kleshин told me about him coming from Chivas, and he's like, yeah, Preki's just tough, and he's not cool. I'm like, yeah, but is that something that you guys need? Like, you guys need a little tough? He's like, not cool. All right, and that's I don't know. That's just the way it was. Like, there was no real. Sam Cronin played for the Quakes. He actually got on Preki's good side because he was like the one person to pass like a fitness thing that he had. And there's levels. There's either, he's really fit and he's the only one who passed, but Preki went with no one's fit except for him. It's like,
wow.
Come on, man. So he made it his little baby, but even then, there was no real comments to have or anything like that. Gary Smith, I thought he was a great coach just because you knew where you stood at all times, and it wasn't hard to please him. If you did what you were supposed to do, he appreciated it, he saw it, and you can be on the field the next day. I like Dominic Kinnear. He's quick-witted. He's got this dry sense of humor that always makes you laugh and stuff. So
yeah,
I enjoyed playing for him as well. So I had a variety of coaches, and I would say those are the ones that kind of stick out to me the most.
Yeah, a good callback. Sam Cronin, Wake Forest, paved the way for another Wake Forest player that's turning it up in the Premier League right now, Jack Harrison.
That's right.
Yes. With the San Jose Earthquakes, do you have any fond memories with the organization? Maybe it could be on the pitch, it could be off the pitch, like maybe a night out with some friends or exploring San Jose.
Well, what I like most about San Jose, obviously, is going to be my teammates. We love playing 22, just shooting, just playing card games on the bus, or our wine and dine events are when we can really have a good time. And I'm not trying to plug that as in everyone should go and try to get a wine dine event and donate and all this other stuff, but those were so much fun. They were just fun, like every single year, because you got all the guys together. Yeah. Oh man, if you can go to Napa, jeez. You just got all the guys together, and so like you're still a little stiff, a little nervous because you got like the season ticket holders and you want to make yourself look good and all that. But then you start getting a little loose for one reason or another, where you get more comfortable, whatever. And now you're just hanging out with all your boys, and you realize all these people that you're sitting at the table with are cool too. Like, they just want to talk. They just want to know more about you. They just want to hang out. Like,
right.
In no way are they like completely in your brain and just want to know every single thing about you. But they're hanging out. They just want to have a good time. So it just ends up being just fun for everyone involved.
That's awesome. Was there any moments from those wine and dines where you're like, oh, they shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have done that? Too many Cubs.
Well, not the ones that I've been a part of, except for one where Jackson kept standing up on the chair. He got talked to on the side, but it was fun. One then Quincy, because they do like a little auction thing, and Quincy's like, "Who wants this?" But why? Because like for the kids or whatever, he's like, "If you don't bid on this, you hate kids." And do you want to think that you hate kids? Like, I mean, he went up there and it was an absolute riot. I mean, he won everybody heart over like immediately. So, and I think that was in fifth. I think that might have been 16 because it was just too great. It was so funny.
That's awesome. All right. So on your decision to retire, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Take us back to when you first heard about your regular heartbeat, large aortic root.
Yeah. So the entrance physical for the 2017 season, we go to this full testing. We go to orthopedic surgeons. We get EKGs done. And when I got mine done, my QT angle, I believe it is when, they do an electric pulse, and you're supposed to just have a direction of going like this. I got mine done, and it actually went back up like that. And I don't even know what that means, but they said, okay, you need extra screening. It's actually me and 2 other players went to go get extra screening because something didn't come up right. But when it came to me during my echo, they actually saw that my aortic root was a little bit enlarged. And an aortic root should be anywhere between 2.5 and 3 centimeters, I believe.
Wow.
And mine was around 4. And so it's a bit big, but they also would never do surgery unless it's about 5.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So it was interesting. So the Sutter Health people, they say you should really go see a cardiovascular specialist at Stanford. So they send me up to Stanford. They do more screens. They do like genetic testing to see if there is anything wrong at all. And there's nothing in the history really, but they say, your aortic root is too large for us to, put you out there to play. It's anywhere between, my readings have gone 4.4 and 4.8. And they're saying, if it's a bit big, it's like filling up a water balloon. So it's just,
wow.
And then you have a dissection, and then they never said, then you die. There's like, then we're going to be in a serious situation. Right now, your probability of having a dissection on the field is about 1%.
Wow.
But that's still too high for me. So that's what the doctor was saying to me. So he's like, well, you can either retire now and live a relatively normal life. You just have to do modified workouts, or we can go in there with surgery, and we can guarantee you that, I don't know if it's a guarantee, but we can get you back on the field. We've done this before. We know what we're doing. We got you on this. And I treated it like an injury. I was pretty ignorant of the whole time. Like, I wasn't thinking that they're going to open up my chest and stop my heart and all this other stuff. And that could be potentially dangerous. I just felt so comfortable and just wanting to play soccer again, kind of like that tunnel vision I had in college. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, but I'm like, no, I want to play soccer again. So yeah, go for it. Do it. That was an easier decision than for me to go pro. Would just cut me open. That's fine. Yeah, I'll have a bad day. I'll have 2 bad days. I don't care. Get me going. So we start talking about that. I get it done March 23rd, 2017. It went really, really well. Everything went well. It was about a 9-hour surgery. But once it was done, like, I envision, like, he comes out, he takes off his mask, he's talking to my mom, and he's saying, I'm actually really glad we went in there. She's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, his aortic root, the tissue was actually a lot thinner than what its dilation meant. So instead of it being like 4.4 to 4.8, it was actually closer to maybe 5.2.
Wow.
So that is when they would have that surgery. And then, I mean, he didn't give me numbers, but that would bring like my dissection odds to maybe 3 to 4%.
Wow.
And if you think we play 34, 36 games a year, practice daily, what else is it going to take? So it was actually amazing that I actually went in for it. So when people ask me, would you have rather played in any other league, or would your career have gone in any different way? If it all led to my life being saved by Sutter Health and then Stanford, what am I going to say? So then after that, I had just signed a new contract in 2017, and so MLS paid me for the first 6 months, and they just stopped paying me all of a sudden. And they're saying, well, actually, we look back and your contract's actually void because you didn't pass an extra physical. And I was like, well, you could have told me that before, and I would have at least had time to plan or save or something, and not been like doing everything I could. And by the way, I'm doing very well. Like, I should be cleared to play. Like, so let's go get tested.
Right.
They're like, well, you said that, or well, your surgeon said that you will be back to play within 8 to 10 months, and it's only been 6. And I was like, yeah, but he said that in terms of me getting fit enough for the professional level. He didn't understand that I was fit before, because I was just in preseason.
Right.
I had surgery, and I was in the hospital for just a week.
Wow.
And now I started doing fitness again. I couldn't do stuff in my chest and push-ups and things because that was the biggest part. Everything that happened inside of my chest was done. They fixed it. That's it. Everything else was the pain of actually having my chest plate healing back up again. So once that was done after 6 months, I'm like, fine, let's go see a cardiologist. Let's go get it checked out. He comes back. He says, well, there might be a little bit of swelling with the organic tissue and the artificial material are sewn together. So I don't really know yet. We should wait. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Second opinion. Let's go. No more. Let's go. So we get another opinion, and he's saying, all right, so this is at Mayo Clinic. They apparently put my case in anonymously amongst a board, and they're saying, you have a 30-year-old African-American male who just had heart surgery. Would you let them play professional soccer? And say do that near zero risk. No doctor's going to say anyone is at near zero risk for anything. So
right.
That was the ultimate decision. I tried fighting it for as long as I could, seeing who else we can talk to, what else we can do. MLS wasn't budging. They not only were they budging, they wouldn't give me the proper, you cannot play anymore. It was just egging on. I don't know yet.
Wow.
So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so this was a bad phase of me not being paid, me not getting disability. And so I was depressed for, I think it was November, December, and January, going from 2017 to 2018, because I was just dead in the water. I didn't know where to go or what to do. I'd been playing soccer since I was 3.
Yeah.
And now it's just, you can't play anymore.
Yeah.
So
tough.
So that was sad. And then I think disability came back, or people had started talking about other things that I can do, and I started getting a little bit uplifted. So that's when I decided to post about my retirement. And it was funny because I posted, and then I'd have friends send me screenshots or see their watch, like, MLS veteran retires, Marvell Wynne, that's you. which was crazy to me. Like I still wouldn't think like ESPN would even post about that, but yeah, that was, I mean, to be honest, it was cool. Obviously it was sad and all, but oh yeah, and by the way, Ricky Dorego, I'm not sure how you say his last name, but the team manager for the Quakes at the time, he's the one that officially retired me, because I had the video, I had it all written out, but I couldn't send it, I couldn't post it. It's like, Ricky, retire me. so he's the one who actually pressed the send button. He actually retired me.
Oh
yeah,
that must have been tough. Did the Quakes offer any backbone when you were going through all this? Did they reach out to you in ways to be like, hey, we're still with you? Or was it more of they're an MLS team and they're backing what the MLS is telling you? Jesse
had my back the entire way without hesitation.
Oh, wow.
Quakes themselves too, man, because I like to go up and I like to say hi to the guys and hi to the players and all that stuff, or hi to the staff and whatnot. So like it wasn't just I'm a player, no, I'm not a player.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was like, oh, Marvell, our friend, is going through heart surgery, and we hope that he's all right, and that's how it was. So they stuck through the whole way. But Jesse especially, there was no doubt in my mind that he wanted to do everything he could for me.
Wow.
Right. I'm glad that was the case. And during this whole process, like 2017, when you're on the sidelines, or not even on the sidelines, you're trying to recover, and 2018, when it was made official, What was the support from your friends, family? What role did they play in helping you get through this?
They just let me do whatever I wanted to do. I went into
Mm-hmm.
training, everything. So at the time, I couldn't drive myself, so my mom was picking me up and dropping me off from soccer practice.
Yeah.
She'd pick me up. Well, she stayed at my house, so she picked me up, or she would drive me to the stadium. She dropped me off for about 2 hours, and during that time, I would just shuffle my way as much as I could over to a treadmill, and
Mm.
I'd walk for an hour and do whatever I could. Then I'd send her a call, send her a text, and she'd come pick me up. Then after that, I was just in the gym, just lifting and sprinting and doing every workout I possibly can on the field. So
Right.
like I understand when there were when professional players get injured and say, "Oh, I'm coming back. I'm as fit as I've ever been." Like I get it, because you're not playing the sport. You're just doing everything that's physically required of you in the gym. So you're just the beast. Like you're not
Right.
worried about what's tactically, just like grab the ball. Like if it's football, get the ball, run tackles and all that. You're just in the gym, just getting as fit as possible and stretching.
Right.
So I mean, it was a good feeling being fit and ready to go. Just people supported me. Just they couldn't
Looking
do
at
much about
yourself
it.
in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Just I think I've lost my neck from like here to here. There's just nothing but just trap.
Yeah, there you go.
So did you? This is going to be kind of a oddball question, but relative to now, did you see Ted Ramey at that gym at all, or did you ever meet up with Ted Ramey at the gym? Because he's an avid, I know, CrossFitter and likes to power lift and things like that. Did you ever see him in the gym at the Quakes, or at least, or anything?
I never saw him in our gym, but we definitely swap gym stories now. But because he has his own home gym, and I'm trying to make mine and make it nice. So
Yeah,
he's a big kettlebell fan. I don't have any kettlebells yet, but he loves himself some kettlebells.
that's
But every
awesome.
now and then he'll talk to me about like, yeah, Marv, I just went on a run. It was cool out. Whatever. I just did this. Then he sent me a picture of him like jumping on top of like a 4-foot tall wall. He's like, not a bad vert for 40 or something like that. I'm like, you get it, Ted.
That's awesome.
So, as well as doing any sort of physical activity under the sun, what other activities did you do with your playing days behind you? Maybe some Final Fantasy, to allude to one of your preferences earlier.
Oh man, I do love me some Final Fantasy. And they're making a Final Fantasy VII remake. I might have to get on that and just love all that nostalgia. But
Classic, yeah.
I started running. I would never think of myself as a runner, but it's so different because I had to fill a void of competition. So it's like I better compete against myself. So a couple 10Ks, and then I think I ended up doing 5 half marathons, and I wanted to work my way up to a full one. But I talked to a few former professional runners, and they're like, "Man, I mean, if you, I don't know. Like they kind of talked me out of it because like it really hurts your knees, it really hurts your hips.
Oh wow.
Like the training for it, and then they're like, well, you have to do Boston. That's amazing. I'm like, don't you have to qualify? They're like, oh yeah, that's more running. So they actually kind of talked me out of it. So now on the side, so now since it's all done, I've gone back to school with
Mm,
SNHU, going for community health education. I'm a certified 200 RYT yoga instructor,
well,
and now I'm taking courses to become an NASM personal trainer.
that's awesome.
So even when I was in school, if I wasn't going to be a professional athlete, I wanted to train them, work with them, and help them get to that level. So I guess I could just try to go for that now. And since we're in Quincy, Illinois, it's only 2 hours north of St. Louis. So if they're going to need a trainer with some experience,
Yeah.
I don't know. San Jose is busy. They got their own setup going. I got to go to these new guys, see if they want me.
Really quickly, I know you're a pretty big gamer. Have you ever thought about like Twitch streaming or Facebook streaming?
Oh yeah, a lot of people watch that.
I've 100% thought about that. I kind of want to send a DM to FIFA and be like, FIFA, if you get me my card, and then like once a week we just challenge people, and if they beat me, they can get my card. Are you down? And I'll just like play with fans or kids. I'm also helping coach this junior college over in Quincy as well.
That's
So I was
awesome.
like, maybe one of my players can play, and like we'd go against other teams and see if they'll even go for something like that. It could be fun. It could be something different, right?
Yeah, no, I think you would have a pretty big backing. I mean, at least in San Jose, if you had a Twitch stream or anything like that, I think there would be a lot of people interested in watching your game. And especially if you had something on FIFA or you have a Twitch stream and then you contact EA and be like, hey, like I want to do this, they would. I mean, you're a pretty big MLS like pace legend, so I think it would be everybody in the FIFA community knows you, so it would be like, oh, Marvell Wynne, that's awesome, So
look, if you want to dictate it, let me know. If you want to write it out, hey FIFA, I'm at Marvell Wynne 22, Marvell Wynne 22, and I will send it to them because again, it's 2020. People are staying inside. Video games make people happy.
right.
Podcasts make people happy. Twitch makes people happy. I say let's just go for it. If you guys want to be part of this, if you guys want to be my partners in this, let's do this.
Hey,
maybe we'll get
Tectonic
Cali we'll get Cali SCG in this as well. I mean, he is doing exclusively Facebook gaming, so we will have to compromise a bit if he gets involved, but still, that would be a lot of fun. The top FIFA player for the San Jose Earthquakes, yeah.
I don't discriminate at all. It can be on Twitch, it can be on Facebook gaming. I am cool with it.
Yeah, definitely. So,
I'm down. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Let's have a TectonicTakes gaming hour with Marvell Wynne. I'm down. All right.
Let's do this.
Yeah. So, how soon after retirement did the opportunity to work with Ted Ramey on the soccer hour come with you? Like, how did that come to fruition? How did you meet Ted Ramey?
Yeah, that was a couple months after because the Earthquakes again trying to just do right by me. They're like, yeah, we're sorry this went through this and all that stuff, but we would love to keep you around and find some in some capacity. So before 2020 happened, I would they would fly me from Quincy to San Jose for game days, and I would do appearances days before the game. I do pregame, halftime, and postgame with Ryan Covey. And then I do some more appearances afterward. And throughout the week, once a week, they're like, you want to do a podcast with Ted Ramey? I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Seen him a couple of times. Seems like a cool guy. And I mean, and now we've been doing it for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. So how many episodes have you been on so far? Do you have that count? I think it's like
we
20, right?
Like something like that. I mean, it's pretty much once a week when the season's on. And then even postseason. So yeah, it's like roughly, yeah, a lot of podcasting.
Yeah. What's your biggest blunder you've done on air?
Since we asked Ted, we gotta ask you too.
Right.
My biggest blunder I've done on air, I don't know. I'd say it was one of the first podcasts we had. I didn't know edibles would have hit him that soon, and I don't even think he noticed. But I was just like, I wasn't really hearing his questions. I was sleepy. I was hungry. Like, I don't even remember which one it was, but it was like one of the very first ones. And I was like, oh my gosh, he thinks I'm terrible at this. But I was high, so I was like, oh well. I was like, oh man, so that might have been my worst thing.
Okay.
Whatever.
At least you probably had the experience, like when it comes to like talking about the players on the podcast, having played with so many different nationalities and languages spoken, that you didn't have much trouble pronouncing names, right? Because that's always something that trips people up.
Yeah, it was nothing like that. It was, if anything, it was just trying to actually analyze the plays and things like that when I was in that state. But I mean, even then, though, I mean, I personally, so when I went through the whole depression thing, like I went to a doctor. They're like, we have therapy. You can exercise. Actually, you can't exercise anymore than you do, or you can put you on Zoloft. And I was like, I don't want to be on Zoloft and therapy. I mean, I don't know. So I'm like, what about THC? Like I heard that helps, whatever.
Yeah.
So he said, yeah, you can try that out. So I tried that out. I mean, I would have panic attacks at night where I would just wake up and my heart be racing. Then tried some THC, tried some edibles, and then I was actually able to calm down and sleep through the night. So they actually helped me out medically. Like I didn't want to make it sound like we're doing a podcast and I'm just getting high as a kite all the time. It has helped me out in the past, and I've got to taper down, so I don't use it as much now. But just wanted to make that clear as well.
No need. It's totally fine. Ted Ramey's just looking at the Zoom link like, bruh.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, what's going on there? Awesome.
That's good. Hey, Ted, if you get to see this or whatever, Ted Ramey, we love you, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it help you still feel connected with the soccer community? Wait, did Ted know that, or have you ever told him that?
I don't know. I was too nervous because it was
Yeah.
it was definitely one of the first times. I was too nervous to say anything. I'm like, I don't know if I don't know if I can tell him. So I don't know if I told him. I think if this is the first time he's hearing
Fake
about
it till you make it.
yeah. If this is the first time, he might be like, I knew something was up, but hopefully I played it off well. I don't think I did.
Okay, back to the next question. Does it help you still feel connected with the soccer community? Like being on the soccer hour?
It does.
Yeah,
it does. And it forces me to watch more.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about a lot of different things, hear about what's going on headlines and things like that. So it actually gets me more involved than I was when I was actually playing. When I was actually playing, I didn't watch very many games on my own, looking at opposition and stuff. It's like, if we're playing a team next, we have video sessions that are specifically geared towards exactly what you should be doing. So just watching for fun, it wasn't really real, but now I get to watch it and analyze it and then get to actually talk about it later.
Yeah.
So it's made soccer more fun. I'm almost more involved now just with my whole life than I am just with just my job.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I do have one last question for you before we get into the fan questions. And this is sort of unrelated, but since it is technically your post-retired life and something that's relevant, how was Halloween for you this year? Like, what did you do to deal with any possible trick-or-treaters? Did you decorate, or was it significantly different because of COVID?
It was not that significantly different because there was a group of friends that had been socially distancing so they could attend a birthday get together with like 5 people. So it was like a nice compact group of friends that got to hang out and basically just tell old stories. We were just in costumes, and I didn't have a costume so I drove out here to be for my friend's 40th, which is on the 29th.
That's awesome.
So then Halloween is just a couple days later, and I didn't really pack anything. So a friend of ours just said, just wear all black. So I wore all black. she had like 2 little wrist things and a belt and a bandana. It's like, you're a pirate. I'm like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So I was a pirate, and I had a good time with some of my friends.
You could say it was a monster mash, right?
Monster mash.
The first fan question Mike comes from Mike Pizzo. He says, miss seeing you and hope you are in your best health. Have you given any thought to coaching at the professional level? You would be a great coach and a terrific role model, mentor, and people person. So, and then this notion was also seconded by Martin Slingastad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, hi, Mike Pizzo. I know that dude. Great guy. Hope you're doing well. I have thought about it, and I was supposed to go to coaching courses. I was going to go for, I think, straight to my straight to my B, and then work on my A. But then COVID happened, so they canceled all the coaching clinics. So I have thought about coaching at a professional level. I was actively pursuing it until things have gotten delayed and kind of stretched and spread out. But there is a new schedule set out to go into 2021. So I'm most likely going to take in courses then.
That's awesome. That's great news.
All right. So Jared Connell on Facebook asks, since you played with Red Bulls Toronto and Colorado, most of your time at Colorado, how did you come to identify and connect so strongly with San Jose compared to those other clubs, if that's the case?
Because they stuck with me in such a bad time. Like, Jesse really was like,
that's awesome.
We will take care of you. We will do everything that we can. In no way am I saying that the other teams wouldn't have done the same thing in a similar scenario, but they just did. I mean, it's just how it happened. Toronto definitely wanted to make you feel at home, wanted to make you feel like a superstar, wanted to make you feel good. Colorado was just, they were more humble about things, but like we were all in a very, like the players themselves were in a much tighter group. Like the San Jose, we're cool guys when we're together, but we live in such different areas. I mean, it'd be like a half hour to try to get to like the next person and try to, figure everything out. But Colorado, everyone was downtown. Everybody hung out all the time. So it was a cool group. But I mean, the love for San Jose will always be there because if I think about my heart, I think about San Jose.
Yeah,
right.
How well they treated me.
Yeah, you can't go a day without thinking about your heart. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So that's actually really good to hear the stuff about Jesse Fornelli because he does get a lot of heat from Quakes media, or at least from the fans. So it's actually really nice to hear finally
from us.
From us. I mean, media, wink, wink. No, but it's great to hear that he's a really good person and a really good friend and someone that would stick up for you in this time.
Yeah. I can't give enough props to Jesse in the way that he helped me through this. Again, that's one aspect of who he is. I mean, whatever criticisms you guys had for him, sure they're valid. I mean, don't take that away in any way. But from my particular situation, he really was there for me.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, we advocate we'll definitely try to ensure that our criticisms for players, coaches, everybody, it's criticism in the soccer sense.
Right.
We know that 99% of people that are involved in MLS and in sports in general, they're good people. And
right.
We wouldn't take that away from them.
All right. Yeah. So the next fan question comes from Fahim Kareem. Asks, have you ever played yourself in FIFA? We already covered. So shout out to Fahim Kareem. George Martinez wanted to say, not really a question, but there is fans that still have a lot of love for you and thanking you for staying with us and hanging out with us at games. So they really appreciate that our fan base, the San Jose Earthquakes fan base, and now your fan base, right?
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, thank you. I'm glad they liked. I'm glad they like to hear that. There are certain players that don't want any part of that, for whatever reason. But I always thought it was a fun experience to go in there with the fans and just hang out, talk to them, take pictures, or do whatever. It was just, I don't know. It was just kind of fun to do. Seeing like people's eyes light up or whatever. It's like, yeah, man, I'm doing all right, good. And then letting them see that you're not just who are on the field. I do not look happy when I played. I looked very angry. I looked very, very angry. Like my game face was serious. I don't even know how I did it.
Right.
Like my eyebrows would go below my shoulders somehow. I don't even know how to do that. But it was cool when you're just out there. It's like, oh, you're not mean. It's like, nah, I'm cool. I'm happy. I'm a hugger. Like,
right.
How can anyone think you're mean if you should check? Have you seen your Wikipedia page lately? Because you have the best smile on that picture on your Wikipedia page.
I have not seen it. Oh, boy. I better look. I don't know. If it's a good picture, I'll be amazed because the player cards that they get us, they're just like, this one's terrible.
You're wearing a colored shirt, so I don't think you're not in a jersey. It's not a game picture. So.
It might be like a Napa shot, probably. You look like maybe a couple cups, No, I'm kidding.
Oh, my gosh. Just kind of just glassy-eyed. Oh, yeah. Never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, Jorge Martinez, thank you for that. And then our next question comes from William Bond. So this is more of an MLS current events types of question. So what are your thoughts on the points per game model that MLS is using to determine the playoff seeding? It seems to be benefiting not Quakes teams.
Yeah, that is so unfortunate. I completely get what they're talking about because they're probably going to they're trying to make it sound like, look, COVID happened and it's not your fault. Things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So why should you be punished for it? And they're trying to make it into like, so how, points per game, whereas the other teams, it was like, but we did this, we had the same guidelines, except we were just able to not have it. So why should we either be punished or anything like that? So I think I'm biased because it is going against not Quakes teams. So I'm not really for it, but at the same time, Colorado's going to really benefit from it.
Right.
And I mean, if you're, I guess that's so tough. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. The thing is, playing more games takes more out of the body.
Right.
So if you don't play a certain amount of games, then what does that do? But then beginning of the year, everybody had a big break, and it's this year is just all up in the air. I would say the points per game, I'm not really the biggest fan for, but I completely understand the decision.
Yeah, and I think a lot of Quakes fans are mad at the fact that it just didn't come a little earlier, right? We didn't know earlier that this was what's going to happen. I think that's a sentiment around the league, right? They took a little long to make that decision on points per game in a lot of people's opinions.
Mm-hmm.
The next question comes from Jose Lopez on Twitter. He asks, what advice would you give someone to prepare for the life after soccer, including in your situation where it ended out of your control in a way?
Stay in school. I mean, things. I would have had at least some kind of guidelines. Like I would like, okay, well, I have a major in this.
Right.
What can I pursue? Was just ended like, oh, save, do the little Dicky thing. Save that money. Save that money.
Yeah.
Always don't be afraid to just have a nice little cushion there for everything you have to for everything you might be spending for the next, what was it? I think 2 years.
Yeah.
6 months. They want you to have it stored in there. So that's never a bad idea. So then, even if you are looking for your new passion, you at least have the time and the funds to actually explore a little bit.
Right.
But at the same time, if you're coming off a professional career, go have fun. Go, you deserve it. You deserve it. I immediately, kind of during and a little bit after my depression, I was like, well, I'm done playing soccer, so I got to do something. What am I going to do?
Right.
Be like, well, you had an 11-year career. Go away. Like, go do stuff. And honestly,
yeah.
I think that helped me out a lot. I mean, I didn't get to go out and do that much because I couldn't really let go or release, because then I was like, well, I got to run half marathons for some reason.
Right.
But the idea of being able to just find some appreciation and just go and enjoy yourself and have life on a level that you haven't experienced in a couple of years. Yeah, enjoy life, man.
That's awesome. That's great. That's great advice. I mean, for anybody really, if you've been into something so long that your body and your mind are tired of that, definitely go have fun.
Yeah, and our last submission in this case, comes from Sam Habash on Facebook. He didn't have a question for you. He just wanted to share this picture he took with you in a game where he described as the one, it's like a Friends episode title, the one where Flo pocketed Zlatan. And if for those who are listening, it shows that Marvell is in the center of the picture. Everyone's smiling and posing, and you're wearing a very unique jersey. You want to describe it?
How do you describe that one? It is, I think because they gave it to me like, yeah, we got one of these jerseys for you. And then it's one of the ones that's red and it has, are they stars?
Yeah, stars.
It looks like a star type
upside
of
down.
Pattern.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Like the upside down star pattern that they threw at me, and I was like, I'm wearing this.
Or like a V with spikes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of those fire. It reminds me of those fire Nigerian World Cup jerseys. That it's just a very bewildering pattern, but like you'll remember it forever once you see it once.
Yeah, those are the ones. They gave me a couple of those, or not that, a couple of different jerseys. Sorry, not a couple of that particular jersey. So I got that one, and I got the recycling one. So I've got some unique jerseys of my own.
That's awesome.
I don't have a full black one that I got to wear during a game.
Yeah. To put you at ease with the Wikipedia thing, this is a similar smile to the one you have in your Wikipedia picture. So it's a good photo.
So it's not creepy. I'm not like weird with it.
No, not at all.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, Marvin, that kind of wraps it up for us. We want to thank you for coming on. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to make sure that the fans have time to answer questions. So we really do appreciate that. Thank you, Marvell.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
This is like a San Jose Earthquakes bucket list sort of thing. Like having watched you play and having been a fan of San Jose Earthquakes and having been a fan of yours, even before San Jose Earthquakes, like watching you play for other MLS teams, I'm like, you're a good defender. And it's like, it's definitely a happy feeling when I first found out that you were a San Jose Earthquakes player. And those feelings return today, getting a chance to talk to you. So thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah. And we appreciate you being a part of Quakes Media, helping grow the game. I know we're a part of that boat now too. And we just want to see soccer in the best format, right? In everybody's mind and in the forefront of sports. So thank you for helping us with that too.
Yeah.
Anytime. We'll see you on
we'll see you on the sticks.
Yeah,
we'll see
right.
about
Hey,
some FIFA, and we'll see about the next Raiders game too.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
That stadium though. Ooh.
yeah, right. It's a nice stadium. Can't wait for COVID to be over. But definitely, Tectonic Takes at Twitch, Marvell Wynne. Take it out. No, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Maybe a
All right.
special
Thank you
episode.
for your time.
Thank you,
Have a
Marvell.
good night.
See you guys.
Take care, Marv.
Bye. All right, we just want to take a moment to thank our sponsor once again, Roughneck Scarves, official scarf supplier to
Woo!
MLS,
Thank you.
USL, and US Scarf Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. And if you're not content with just a scarf and you're tired of the same old uniform and cookie cutter templates from Nike and Adidas, you can go for a unique, completely custom kit for your youth club, Sunday League squad, adult, pro team, or book club. Icarus FC can help you create the kit of your dreams at an affordable price. Let them help you design your new custom kit today. And if we ever have to consult Marvell Wynne with one of those kits, I guess black is a color we'll have to consider because you didn't.
I think we're gonna have to make a Tectonic Takes kit soon, right? It has to be black. So we send one to Marv. He rocks it on the Twitch stream. And then that's how we grow this soccer community. All right, that's how we do it. And I want to give a quick thank you to all of our Patreoners. If you want to go ahead and follow us on Patreon, we truly do appreciate it. At the end of the day, this is all money that goes back into Quake's content. This is just growing the brand. We don't pocket any of this. And we want to grow the Quakes community, make it larger. We're a little jealous of what LAFC and Atlanta have, and we just want to make it so it's like that, right? And then if you guys do have a second, please rate us on Apple Podcasts. We would love to see you guys give us some love on Apple Podcasts as well as YouTube. We have a YouTube now, so please subscribe, stay in tuned, like our videos, make sure that you're sharing it to friends so others can hop on the podcast as well.
So are we doing a preview for the Sounders game, or are we just going to do a recap for that?
We are doing it. So we're gonna do it live. So all you guys listening right now, we are definitely gonna do it. And that wraps it up for us. Go Quakes,
Sounds
right?
good. Go Quakes.
Go Quakes.